What's up? So I am gonna make another video. This is actually a pretty interesting article, and I'll link it in the description below. But this is 35 things you might not know about HIV, and it's actually very informative. So I'm gonna go ahead and run through a few of these because I found a few of them very fascinating. The HIV. So we're gonna start off with the first one, which is HIV origins. The whole patient zero myth is just that, a myth. There was no patient zero. Um, it just sprung up out of nowhere, and it wasn't a guy who fucked a monkey. It was nothing like that. It just happened. Our Earth basically said, "Hey, population is too high. You guys got to go." So the virus came about, and now we're working on it. HIV care and treatment. This next one is actually very important. Starting treatment as soon as possible is very important because it improves your quality of life. You will live longer and you will live a happier life because you won't be constantly sick. That was number two. Um, it used to be that you had to take an entire medicine cabinet full of meds. Now it's down to 2 to 3 pills a day, and it's in some people they only need one. If they catch it early, they can just take one. Hepatitis C. Let's go ahead and move on to that section. Hepatitis C is a more prevalent virus among the human population than HIV. A lot of people say, "Oh, there's tons of people living with HIV." Actually, people living with hepatitis C are more prevalent than than HIV. The CDC, Center for Disease Control, actually estimated that 1.2 million people are living with HIV in the U.S. Hepatitis C outstretches that. It goes beyond that. So the transmission of Hep C among men who have sex with other men, in other words, MSN or MSM, male sexual male, apparently dates back decades ago. So it's not just something that sprung up, in recent years. It's been here. So, the cure. Timothy Ray Brown, he's the only person known on this planet, on Earth, to have cured his HIV. A great deal of researchers and doctors say that if you go into remission, you're basically cured. You can't pass it along to anybody, but it's still there. So you're living with it, and that's it. So this next one is kind of these next two actually kind of go to a few myths that have been sprung in the recent years. Soy sauce and pot do not cure HIV. So don't go start getting high and chugging soy sauce, please, because you'll most likely kill yourself with the soy sauce. Next section, women. A parasite may be to blame for the high HIV rates among African American women, because parasites typically suck blood, go to another host, and then suck blood, and there's a transmission of blood between the two. And you have to think about it this way. In the South, there's a lot of mosquitoes. Typically, they don't squirt out blood when they're sucking blood, but there are few and rare instances where it can happen. So that's why the South has the highest HIV rates in all of America. Prevention. We've talked about this many times. PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis. If you want to have unprotected sex, all that you want, go ahead, but get on that. Seriously, or you can take the risk, but odds are that you will get it. So get tested regularly. Every 3 months is the recommended testing periods. So you get one in January, you get one 3 months later, then 3 months later, then 3 months later, and then the cycle starts all over again. So people on HIV treatments often overestimate how infectious they are. I know that I stressed about it a lot when I got out of the hospital. Um, my ex, he brought home a box of condoms, and he's like, "All right, are you ready?" I was like, "No, I'm not ready to have sex at all. Thank you very much. I just found out that I had the deadliest disease known to man, or virus known to man." Um, Let me see. I'm just reading through a few more of these. Behavioral factors don't explain why black male sex males have such a disproportionately high HIV rates. Um, uh, male African Americans, they engage in comparable rates of condomless sex. So it's not the condoms. It's not. There's no link yet found. Only 1 in 5 sexually active high school students have had an HIV test, which makes me sad. I'm like, what? These kids, they need it. Let me see. Death rates are dropping among people with HIV. That's because we keep getting better treatment. We do. We keep getting better meds, and eventually these meds are going to turn into vaccines. So, substance use. Let's move on to that section. Even 1 or 2 drinks a day can be harmful to people with HIV. With threshold for safe alcohol use is the threshold for safe alcohol use is lower for HIV negative people, but it's higher for HIV positive people. So that's why when I drink, I have 1, maybe 2. I know that I broke that rule the other week. I was at a graduation party and I got drunk. I did. But I biked home and I was fine. There's a false myth that HIV meds and alcohol are a toxic mix. They are not. Many people purposefully skip their antiretrovirals because they want to drink. This is a bad thing. Okay. People on HIV treatment double their risk of death by smoking. I think you double your risk with any kind of bad substance abuse. The only thing that's actually good for you is pot. Well, this last section is the state of the epidemic. HIV prevalence among male-sex males varies widely by city and state, with southern male-sex males hit severely hard, like I said earlier. The annual HIV diagnosis rate has dropped 19% over the last decade. So over the last 10 years, it's dropped, but it's still not dropping as fast as we want. In the U.S., HIV population may be smaller and more virally suppressed than long presumed. So those are the 35 things that you might not have known about HIV. I'm going to go ahead and post that, and you guys have a great rest of your day, okay? All right, bye.